Hi everyone, welcome to another episode featuring our brownstone project in Midtown Carmel. This four-story luxury renovation, we've worked our way from the first floor up to the second floor, the main living level. And this week we move into the kitchen, which is extraordinary. Tiffany Skilling and her team outdid themselves in this particular area as they usually do. And we executed and brought it to life. There are a number of features that you're going to really enjoy in this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time introducing it. I'm just going to turn you right over to my conversation with Ben, and everybody have a wonderful week. As always, if you have questions, please reach out and we'll be happy to answer them. Thanks a lot. Have a great week, everyone. So now we're coming into the kitchen space, and there is yet again no detail that hasn't been considered in this kitchen. But before we get into it, I want to tell a little bit of the story because the kitchen, it was not an afterthought, but everything else that we have done on this level and all of the things that we've done on the fourth floor and the first floor, they were going to wait on this kitchen. And we got probably 6 months into this project, and it became apparent that they were going to do the kitchen. It had to be done. And as usual, there was every detail thought of by Tiffany and her team in the aesthetics of this space are just amazing. But I want you to talk about it because there's no doubt it's stunning. I want you to talk about it for some of the things that people wouldn't know if you didn't speak to us today about
Sure.
how you thought about accommodating or accomplishing what was being done.
Sure.
Okay.
So, just some of the things that have to be taken into consideration with anytime you have cabinetry that is going to be incorporated into the trim work that is then going to flow into the rest of the house. So, keeping with the theme, we had a transition of blue crown in the dining area, and then we have the same kind of crown into the kitchen area. So keeping that theme throughout and making sure that it matches the cabinetry, with going from different paint colors to stained, but it's all the same type of trim. There's a lot of considerations there to keep all of that stuff the same and not have a hodgepodge of things that doesn't look like it was designed. So we have a fridge that's built in here. The thing people don't understand about these particular kind of units is when we get into them, they have very specific requirements for where your water location is and where your electrical is. These are built in to be flush and look like a cabinet, so they're maximizing the space to be able to give you the cubic feet that you need for a usable fridge.
Yeah.
They make up for it in height, but obviously not everybody can take advantage of a very tall refrigerator. So being able to make sure that plumbing's in the right places, electrical's in the right places, accommodating for any kind of electrical that might be in the back of a cabinet for a coffee maker, or the water lines for the pop filler. Same with your range. It's going to have a gas requirement, it's going to have an electrical requirement, and they have to be in certain places for these higher end units. So when you do make an upgrade, you need to understand that it's not just necessarily, I have a refrigerator, I'm getting a new refrigerator. When you make those changes, understand that there might need to be changes done to the actual walls and requirements you need for that unit.
Right.
In this kitchen, the layout was pretty much the same: island, range, and then your sink. But we had a wall that went here and blocked off this particular space and kind of created a butler's pantry. It was a nice space, but it became a little crowded because we were going to have the same cabinetry in there, but that wall would have extended out to, right here, and then that would have really crowded this island. So that was actually decided mid-renovation,
Yeah.
and that happens. we'll be in a space, and best laid plans, you get in there and you actually feel the space, you understand that certain things might have to change. So,
and this was one that the client drove and felt very strongly about,
yes.
right? She wanted more room for the island.
Essentially, once we had the cabinets out and we had put the marked out where the island was going to go, she was able to determine that was a little crowded for her, and then we were able to shift on the fly and take out the wall and patch in the floor to match what was here, and then essentially keep everything else the same. This cabinetry was always a part of the plan. A part of shifting on the fly was leaving this part of the wall that was here. So this would have extended past, this would have had a door that matched the bathroom here, and then there would have been a wall here. Again, it would have just really crowded, it would have made this space small, and it would have crowded this area. So just this one simple change, we were happy to accommodate for. The other thing we had that was a lot of fun to do was this 19th century antique door.
And these are real. These are not replicas.
Tiffany Skilling's group sourced these and had them sent to our warehouse to look into how we could make them work. And one of the amazing things I as a craftsman can appreciate is old world craftsmanship. And the thing about these is they're 100 plus years old. They're still very structurally sound. They use wood joinery and doweling. And the very unique thing was how this glass came in and out. Your typical single pane glass, which, if anybody knows, they don't want to have single pane glass in their homes. It's not safe. But we had a limitation as far as what we could upgrade. But the way that this glass comes out and goes in is not your typical thing. When we think of old windows, we think of having glazing in this area or even a removable trim. And in this particular unit, I don't know if these are English or French.
I think they're English.
There is actually a groove at the top that if you take these doors off, you're able to slide the piece of glass all the way from the top and in. So you don't have to remove any kind of beading or have a glazing put in like most older windows would have been. Nothing would have failed, and that's what I speak to the craftsmanship, that these are 100 years old. I'm sure they had paint on them, and then they've been maybe sanded down or media blasted, but I didn't have to make drastic changes to these doors to make them usable. So that's a testament of the doors, and it's just neat to be able to incorporate old things with new styles and have them work together. We were able to upgrade this to a safety tempered glass, even being the thin, and then fun things like our little lock here, the original had one on there, but it was very rusted. It had been painted over. It was non-functional. We were able to get this one and put it on, and then the customer had some nice window treatments put on it as to not be looking into her closet. The other fun thing is, and I'll have to step over here, is when you open this, they interlock together, but then that light comes on, and that's all based off of the door. A little convenience thing, you getting in here, your light's gonna be off when you close it and come on when you want to be in there. Again, I believe the California closets system in here, and we accommodated by having electrical to accommodate.
Just have everything ready and plugged in. And
all of your chargeables, so a lot of vacuums, and then we also create kind of catch-all spaces for people where you have lots of chargers, just throw your keys in billfold, but again, not have them out on display.
Yeah. Yeah, there again, no detail not considered in this project. I know that this is all custom hand painted tile. These corbels have their own story too, right? Like
Yeah,
they
I believe the
same.
Yeah, the corbels came with the door. Now, whether or not they were a part of the same building or not, they're from the same company.
Yeah.
Again, original patina, original rust, stuff like that. There's these little details you think about changing, but then it takes away from the details of that history. Now, I'll say from a tile installer's point of view, putting up handmade custom tile that is very irregular, and I mean very irregular, going from 3/4 of an inch thick and being bowed, not square. It was very nice to see it grouted in and see that it worked with the space, because going and putting it on was a little nerve-wracking when you can't have things exactly perfect the way that you want. But that is how it's supposed to look, and you just got to roll with those design choices, and ultimately the end result speaks for itself. So
yeah, and I know, just as a side note, there was a consideration of kind of taking that tile along this short little backsplash area, but I actually really like the simplicity of keeping the countertop and letting that countertop follow and go up onto the window sill, and everything looking very nice and simple and intentional to pull it all together.
Right.
We did bring that tile back in over here. I should say Tiffany brought it back in over here. We just installed it, but I think it pulls that space together, and even the brass grates are just
all of these inlay details are just amazing and make this space.
Yeah.
Some of the other things you notice are the bubbled glass, wavy glass. Over on this side, you have the antique mirrors in the inserts of the cabinet doors. And then one of the really nice options you have with this cabinet is you have all your crystal in here, and we did a lighting system that mounts on the back of the cabinet frame to shine on each shelf without having to have glass shelves that shine from above, which is very typical in these. And I think I like this look a lot better, because it illuminates the individual things and not the entire space.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows, having glass shelves, getting dusty and just dealing with glass shelves isn't the most ideal thing. So having a traditional cabinet shelf and then being able to use this lighting system, I think works out so great.
Yeah, it looks really nice. Here's the antique glass brought back in over here as well.
Yeah, the mirror. I believe it's the same mirror on both sides for this backsplash, and then over there for that.
Yeah.
These lights had to be recentered off of this island. So there was two pendants before that were based off the island, but the island was closer in both ways. So it was closer to the sink, it was closer to the stove. So when we move out the island, these lights had to be recentered to accommodate that. And that's something that we typically do once we've determined that we know the size of the top, and it's really based off of the top, because if you notice on this particular island, we have half of it is cabinetry, and then the other half is your leg space. So you wouldn't want to base it off of where your cabinets were in the remodel process. You want to make it off of what that end is going to look like, which is with the countertop.
It is a gorgeous, gorgeous kitchen renovation, and another beautiful feature of this home.